Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to give you guys my April monthly wrap up and my May TBR list. Little disclaimer, I'm not one of those people that can read like 20 books in a month. I wish I was, but unfortunately I'm a pretty slow reader, so this month I only read 6 books, which is a bit slow for me because this month was finals month, so I didn't have as much time to read. But I'm very excited. I found some books that I didn't really like this month and others that I loved. So let's get right into it. So the first book that I read this month was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is an adult contemporary romance, enemies to lovers, small town type of trope. In this book, we follow our main character, Naomi, who is a runaway bride, and coincidentally, on the same night that she runs away from her wedding, she gets a call from her sort of evil twin sister saying that she needs help. So she drives all the way to her sister's hometown. It's called Knockemout. And once she arrives there waiting for her sister, she meets our other main character, Knox, who kind of hates her already because he thinks that she's her sister because they look exactly alike. As the story continues, we find out that Naomi's sister steals her car and all her money and all her possessions and leaves her daughter behind, which Naomi had no idea even existed. So now she's in this predicament where she has to look over her niece, who she doesn't know, with no money, no house, just stranded in the middle of a town that she does not know. So this book wasn't bad. I just don't think it was for me. There were a few things that I didn't really like. I just cannot enjoy Knox's character for the life of me. I don't know what it was. He just didn't do it for me. I really did enjoy Naomi's character. And I really enjoyed also the found family aspect and just the small town setting. This is a series. There's only 2 books out so far, and we're gonna get the 3rd book this September. I just don't think this book was for me. It did take me a while to finish, which is always kind of a red flag. So I did give it 3 stars out of 5. I do recommend it for those of you who are considering picking up this book. The majority of people who have read this book, I've heard nothing but positive things, so I do think some of you guys will enjoy it. But for me personally, it just didn't do it. Next book that I read this month was The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This book is about Millie, who is recently hired to be a housemaid for this very rich, very odd family. It's hard to say a lot about this book without giving away any spoilers, but the family is just very strange. Right off the bat, we learned that the room that Millie is staying in has a lock on the outside of the door instead of the inside, and she explains that it has really creepy vibes. As we kind of progress throughout the book, we learn that there are weird lies and just things that are not adding up about the family. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can say without spoiling it. I did enjoy this book. I read it all in one sitting, which I've never done before. It was very quick paced. I really like Frida McFadden's writing. I've heard really great things about her other books, so I might have to pick those up. The only issue that I had with this book, which was a pretty big issue for me, was the fact that all the action didn't happen until the last like 30 pages. And that's when I was really into it, and then the book kind of ended. For the first over 200 pages, we're just kind of getting a story about a strange family who just lies. Yeah, not too much action happens in the first 200 pages. It's kind of a mystery trying to figure out what is going on with this odd family. So for that reason, I did give it 3.95 stars. Nonetheless, I really enjoyed this book. Next book I read this month was Where the Crawdad Sings. I always had an interest in this book because I've heard so many great things about it and it was trending all over TikTok. So I always had plans to read it, and then when I heard that it was becoming a movie, I was like, okay, now I have to pick it up. But for some reason I never did. I never got around to it until the movie came onto Netflix, and I was like, you know what, let me just watch the movie. So I watched it, absolutely loved it. So I was like, okay, I have to read the book now. So I finally did. The movie was better than the book. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. But anyways, in this book, we follow our main character, Kaya, who is sort of forced to be isolated from the rest of her town. So in the first half of the book, we follow sort of her journey in growing up isolated in this town. And in the second half of the book, we get more of the main plot, which is the fact that she is a suspect in a recent murder that's taken place in the town. So like I said, in the first half of the book, we're kind of just following her journey of growing up. We start when she's very young. I want to say like 5 years old, and then we follow her all the way up to her late teen years. And it wasn't boring to me, but I have heard people say that the first half of the book was just so slow and kind of boring. And although I do agree it was extremely slow, and that's why I say the movie's better than the book, because in the movie it's not as slow. Even though it was slow, it was still entertaining to me. It wasn't boring. I really enjoyed this book, just not as much as the movie. I gave it 3.7 stars out of 5. Okay, so these next 2 books that I read this month, I actually have a reading vlog for them. It'll be out soon, so keep an eye out for that. But it is the 2 first books in the Shatter Me series, Shatter Me and Unravel Me. It's a YA dystopian. It's about our main character, Juliet, whose touch is lethal. And that's really all I can say. There is a romance subplot. It's not really a subplot. It's kind of like the main plot. We have this love triangle. It's very hard to explain, but I absolutely loved the first book. I finished it, I think, in one sitting as well. It's honestly my favorite book that I've read this year by far. I just ate it up. That's the only way to explain it. So of course, you already know I had to pick up the second book. The second book was great as well. Oh, by the way, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. The second book was great as well, not as good as the first. I gave this one 4.5 stars. If you read any books in this video, let it be the Shatter Me series. I haven't read the third book yet, but I will be reading it soon, and I will have a reading vlog for that book out as well. But yeah, highly recommend. I absolutely am loving the series so far. The last book that I read this month was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. And I kind of went into this blind. I knew that it was about a figure skater and a hockey player, obviously, because of the cover. And I kind of regret going into it blindly. Like I said, it follows a figure skater and a hockey player. We get dual POVs. It's basically just them. It's just them. Like, I really, like, what does happen in this book? Oh, okay. Basically, the hockey team's ice rink got destroyed, and so now they're forced to share an ice rink with the figure skaters. So that's how Nathan and Anastasia meet. And after that, we're just kind of following their love story. I don't think I can articulate well what I disliked about the book, but it just was giving nothing to me. I'm sorry, but it just wasn't giving anything. Oh my gosh, you know what I didn't like about the book that I was like kind of side-eyeing the entire time I was reading it? Was the fact that it felt like a ripoff to the Off-Campus series, which is literally about roommates who are all hockey players, and each book in the series follows those hockey players. And this is literally the same exact thing. We follow a hockey player and he has roommates. Both books take place in college, by the way. For that reason, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. You know what it was giving? It was giving Every Summer After and Love in Other Words. You know how people say that one book copied the other? Yeah, that's what this was giving. I just felt like I had read this book before. Not only have I read this book before, but I've read 3 books exactly like this one, because I read the first 3 books in the Off-Campus series. So I was just kind of like, all right, can we switch something up? If you did like the Off-Campus series and you don't mind reading the same exact storyline again, then I do really recommend this book. I didn't want to read the Off-Campus series again. I think I gave it 2 stars, 2 or 2.5 stars. So yeah, not very high. All right guys, so that wraps up all the books that I've read this April. And now I'm going to talk about the books that I'm going to read in May. So let's get started. Oh, actually, hold on, give me 1 second. I completely forgot to get the book that I already started, so. It's Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. This is a Christian historical romance, which I've never read. I'm only on page 47 so far, but can I just say I absolutely love it already. I'll let you guys know what I think of it when I finish, or you guys can also follow my Goodreads. I'll link it down below. There I update it all the time, and I do leave reviews of the books that I read, so you can follow me on there. My bookmark just flew out. Okay. Anyways, next book I'm going to read, obviously I'm going to continue the Shatter Me series. This is the 3rd book in the series. This is Ignite Me. And like I said, there will be a reading vlog of this out very soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm so excited to continue the series. I did purchase already the 4th book. I think it's called Restore Me, and that's actually coming today, so yeah. Next book I'm going to read is Good Girl, Bad Blood, which is the 2nd book in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I did read the first one, really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. So I've finally picked up the 2nd book. I'm planning to do a reading mystery / thriller for a week video. So this will be included in that reading vlog as well. So stay tuned for that. Next book on my TBR is The Cabin by Natasha Preston. A friend told me that she read it and she really enjoyed it. So I decided to pick it up. It's a murder mystery / thriller. Next on my TBR list, we have The One by Kiera Cass. I read the first 2 books in the Selection series like over a year ago and I just never finished it. So I'm finally finishing it. It shows right here that there are 3 other books in the series, but I think those are part of a spin-off series, so you don't have to read them. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the series as a whole once I finish it, but I've enjoyed the first 2 books. They're decent. The next book on my May TBR is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Whittingham. So I saw this book in Target. It was just calling my name because of the cover. And I didn't read the synopsis. I actually wanted to go into this blind, but I ended up reading the synopsis, and honestly, it's not doing it for me. It's not really intriguing me, but I'm still gonna read it nonetheless because I did buy it. So yeah, I'm gonna read it. I'll let you guys know what I think, but so far it's not really intriguing to me. Last book on my TBR list in general, I'm literally not gonna get to it this month. Maybe not even this year. Who knows? We'll see. But it is Les Mis by Victor Hugo. The only reason why I bought this book was because I watched the musical for the first time ever in my life recently, and I fell in love. I fell in love and I was like, I need more. So I picked up a 1,000 page book. I don't know if I need 1,000 pages more necessarily, but I did buy it, so I'm gonna read it. I'm kind of motivated by the challenge of reading such a huge book. I've never read a book this big. So yeah, I am gonna read it eventually. It's definitely on my bucket list sometime in this lifetime. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Love you.